Hi, Hugh Lopdell here, Oak Park Chartered Accountants, with some advice and help for our business clients to help you manage the current financial difficulties caused by the isolation that's required of us by the New Zealand government. I've rewritten this video script 4 times in the last 4 days, so I need to hurry up and do it before something else changes. Okay, so you'll all be aware by now, I think, that there are actually 2 crises going on. They are related, but they are quite different. One is medical and the other is economic. And the economic challenge is quite considerable. To give you an idea of scale, the US Congress is passing a financial rescue stimulus package which is $2 trillion. Now that is more than double the initial package that they passed to fight the GFC in 2008. So we are looking at an economic challenge of quite some measure greater than the GFC at this stage. Okay, in terms of how long this could go on, it's a waste of breath to try and guess, but one fact that may be some guidance is Wuhan. Wuhan closed down hard in the middle of January this year. And they are just starting to venture out and test the waters and see if they can return back to normal. So that's 2.5 months ago. If that is any kind of factual basis for us, then we could be 2 to 3 months before we are able to venture out also and return to business. So we'll see. It may be that 1 month lockdown is just an initial step. It's good to prepare for the realities and make your decisions accordingly. If you prepare and forecast or budget for something more optimistic and it ends out longer, then you could end up making the wrong decisions and be out of pocket. Best to plan on a more conservative scenario. Okay, this economic crisis is going to affect susceptible businesses much as the same as the virus is affecting susceptible people. So the susceptible people to the virus are those in ill health already. Susceptible businesses to this virus are those in ill health. So a healthy business is one that is trading profitably and has been for some time, has got a cash nest egg from profits that they haven't spent, and has little or no debt on the balance sheet. If your responses to those 3 things are no, no, and no. No, I haven't been trading profitably. In other words, profits over and above your own salary as an owner. 2, there's no nest egg. And 3, there is debt on the balance sheet. Then you are susceptible and you need to take every measure that you can find to mitigate this problem in order to get through this. Okay, by the same definition, our country is well placed in this crisis. It has been running surpluses. It has got little or relatively small amount of debt on its balance sheet, and it has had some nest egg of cash from previous surpluses through prudent management. So, you know, God's own is not badly placed. I wouldn't like to be Italy or Spain, for example, or Greece or countries like that that are already technically insolvent going into this crisis. We're reasonably well off as a country heading into this. Okay, so far my assessment of what the government's been doing is that they've been making a very sound response. So good on them, in my view. It's a huge financial undertaking for a government to bail out its business economy in this way. But so far, in my estimation, their measures are targeted, measured, and they're reassessing daily instead of coming straight in. They are reassessing and adding measures to that as there's enough evidence to show that's the right thing to do. It's a sobering enough thing for a cabinet to dig into its pockets and borrow the amount of money they are borrowing. It would be tragic if they misspent it. It could linger a long time, misspent money, as debt that needs to be repaid by a government, and that's our money really. Okay, so it's like a spot exam in economic management. And at this stage, I'd give our government an A. It's not a political statement. I've looked at what some other countries are doing, including the US, and I have got question marks as to how targeted some of this money is being spent. So be encouraged by that. I think we're in good hands so far. Okay, now I'm going to go over how our business clients can best respond to this situation. We've got a lot of pharmacy businesses on our books and a lot of pharmacists listen in to our videos. This really isn't for you today. You are flat out filling prescriptions, working till midnight. One pharmacist I spoke to last night just to keep up. So they're one of the lucky businesses actually, along with supermarkets and the like, who are not going to have cash flow problems through this time, but we appreciate the work they do. I will be doing a video for pharmacists separately to this. Okay, so cash flow. Cash flow, if you've ever heard me speak about it, cash is like air to a business. So you run out of air, you don't last long. And if you are a business and you run out of cash, you don't last long. So that is why the government's focus has been on providing cash flow assistance to businesses and people. Yeah, that is entirely appropriate. Okay, so the first of all the points to bring up is the wage subsidy. It's the biggest expense, or certainly one of the top one or two expenses for nearly all businesses. It is there, apply for it. If you haven't, give us and you don't know how, call us. If you feel competent to do it, it was in my email the other day, apply for it. The purpose of it is to try and help businesses not lay off staff. It is $585 in the hand, full-time per full-time employee. It's roughly equivalent to a gross of $35,000 a year. It's not taxable as far as I can see, so I assume it's not taxable to you as a business when you receive it. To qualify, you have to have a 30% drop in income or predicted 30% drop in income for all the cafes, restaurants, construction people. There's no question. It's a 100% drop, isn't it? So you qualify. If you're not sure if you qualify and you need some help, feel free to give us a call on that. Now, to qualify, you must endeavour to pay these staff 80% of the wage, their normal wage prior to this. Now, what that does is it creates a bit of a gap, which is problematic, between 80% of their pay, if that's what you reduce their pay to, and this roughly equivalent of $35,000 grossed up subsidy. Now, some people have told me they believe that it's okay to just agree with your staff that you'll receive $585 and you'll pass $585 on and that's all dealt with. I can read nothing in the material online to say that's the case. So what you receive from the government, $585, is a non-taxable subsidy. What you pay to your staff is taxable wages. So if you just pay them $585, then you have to decide, is that the gross and you take PAYE off that, or is that the net and you gross it up and you pay IRD the PAYE on the grossed up $585, which will come to something near $700 a week that you have to fund that gap. So not only that, but if you have staff on, say, $60,000 normal pay, and you agree with them, okay, well, I'm going to pay you 80% of that, that's $48,000. Now, there's a gap between $48,000 and $35,000, which is the grossed up value of $585 a week. You've got to fund that, and there is nothing in the material that I can see to say that you qualify for the subsidy at all if you are not paying your staff at least 80% of their normal pay. All right, that could present some problems, maybe even some confusion with some of our clients. Call me or Hamish if it is. Our cell phones were on the email sent earlier, and you probably have them anyway. All right. Bottom line is, make sure you apply for this thing if you qualify, which many of you do. All right. Now, the material online is not quite clear as to whether you can apply for yourself. Now, if you're a shareholder employee, technically you are receiving a wage, or your employment income. So I can't see why you can't apply for yourself, and my advice so far has been to shareholder employees, you can apply for yourself. It's not entirely clear. The wage subsidy looks like it's phrased as only applying for your employees, but if you're a shareholder employee, I think you can claim, given that it's not clear. It's similar for sole traders and contractors. It says you can apply, but the material indicates that it's just for wages for your staff. But my advice is to contractors and sole traders, go ahead and apply for this 585 as well. All right. Now, this 12 weeks of $585 a week per employee comes to $7,000 lump sum payment, and a number of our clients have already received it. Now, that is a lot of money firing into your bank account. This needs managing. It's a lot of cash, and it's got to last you a long time. You only get this once. Please be careful with it. Earmark it for wages. Don't go using it for other stuff. The law doesn't say you mustn't use it for other stuff, but it's been given in the intention that you will only use it for wages. There is nothing saying that if this is all over in 6 weeks for some reason, because someone comes up with a virus or it dies off, that there'll be a clawback. If you reduce your staff's wages to, say, 80% of their current wages, or down to 585, either net or 585 gross, you must get some agreement in writing with your staff members. So even an email exchange will do. I guess even a text exchange will do, but make sure there's something in writing, because you have a legal binding contract with your staff, and you must have something showing that you've agreed on a change to the pay rate for a period. Okay, so get that at least in an email or a text that's nice and clear. Okay, now redundancy. If you feel for some reason you have to make your staff redundant, which is a horrible thing for some businesses who never dreamed it would ever happen to have to do, be careful. You can't just make your staff redundant. They haven't changed the employment law. There are some very clear and strict legal processes you must go through when you are making staff redundant. So the advice I've had from lawyers I've spoken to is avoid it in these circumstances. Casual staff are different. They turn up at if you call on them, and if you don't call on them, you don't pay them. They don't earn any money. So casual staff, you don't even have to lay them off. They don't get paid. Force majeure. Now that is in most employment contracts down towards the end somewhere. In the event of war or pandemic, there is a right of the employer to terminate an employee's contract. Check that out. It's good to know that it's there. The advice I have is that there's no precedent for using this. There is some concern by the employment lawyers I spoke to misusing it. But read through it carefully. If you really feel that the times are desperate and you may have to use this clause, and it does specifically mention pandemic, you might just have to deploy that. My advice to you is get employment law advice first. All right. Talk to your staff frankly about the situation. Okay, they're grown-ups. I think everyone pretty much understands this is serious. If they don't, they've been under a rock somewhere. Just remember, though, good faith and fair process underpins all our employment law. So communicating with your staff, giving them a chance to respond and input and participate in any processes and decisions you make is important. But talk to them frankly. Okay, see your bank for lending assistance. Now, the Reserve Bank has relaxed some rules and has provided funds to banks to on-lend to you. And there is a government-backed loan guarantee scheme that is available. So they will lend you over 5 years at hopefully market interest rates, some lending to get through this, if your turnover is over $250,000 a year. They're going to be lent to you though on normal terms, so you're going to have a means of securing this finance as far as I can see, and also satisfy them that you can service it just like a normal loan. So it's not an automatic thing, but if you can, my recommendation is you do ask them for this lending. Mortgage repayments, the Reserve Bank has relaxed the rules to allow 6-month mortgage holidays. Now the repayments are not written off. They don't just go away, they just get deferred. And what that will do is they will add to your principal. Well, you're not reducing your principal. So it will technically, over the remaining term of your loan, and if it's 25 years, it will add quite a bit of interest that you will pay over the term of the loan. But it is a cash flow favour to you. If you need it, use it. Okay, now, talk to your lease companies. If you are leasing equipment, talk to them. It is of no benefit to equipment lease companies to repossess things. They don't make money out of repossessing things. They make money out of you continuing to lease it. So they will look for support from banks. Ask them if they can give you some kind of deferral on payments. You'll still pay interest. You might pay a bit more interest, but it'll get you through this time. Ask them about that. Rent. Now, there's a rent freeze on, but that's really of limited help to businesses. Talk to your landlord. This is quite a biggie. This is up there with wages, but there is no rent subsidy. It's in a landlord's interests for you to just not go out of business and fail. They want you back. It might only be a couple of months. They want you in there. So it's in their interests to keep you there and to work with you. And just morally, I'm a commercial landlord myself. Just morally, reasonably, landlords should not expect to come out of this without some hurt. Not an unfair amount, but talk with them. They hopefully will be accommodating and helpful in some way. Perhaps a creative idea I had is that if you're a landlord, you may just negotiate and say, well, look, I will give you a rent holiday. You don't have to pay me back if you agree to sign on a longer term lease, something like that. And that gives them at least something for the lack of rent they'll receive over perhaps 2 or 3 months. Try that. Okay, any of your creditors, talk to them. Don't just not pay them. Okay, this is going to be over, and the relationship you've had with your suppliers, you are still going to have, and you will need it and want it. You want them feeling good about trading with you. Don't just, stop paying them and don't talk to them. Okay, work with your creditors. People will be wanting to work with you, who are your customers. Okay, income protection insurance. Now that doesn't pay out unless you get sick or disabled. So if you get COVID and you've got income protection insurance, you'll qualify for some payment, but otherwise not. Business interruption insurance, pandemics are excluded from the standard business interruption policies, so that's not going to help you either, unfortunately. Defer your capital expenditure. It almost goes without saying, doesn't it? But if you were going to do some fit out or replace computers or replace equipment or buy another van or whatever, don't do that. Don't do that. Put it off until the cash flow is eased and we're back at work again. IT contractors, there are a heap of IT contractors, particularly in Wellington. The ones we've talked to of our clients seem okay. Their projects are not being cancelled. And they're working from home and fine. In principle, though, organisations are just businesses, unless they're government owned or the government. They are just businesses, and they have got bills to pay. So, in principle, just keep an eye open. I hope it doesn't happen for you guys, but their financial continuity down the track may mean that you don't get renewed, and in which case call us if that's a situation, or these remedies might be available for you. I hope they continue to keep you guys employed. Now, tax assistance. There is some tax measures for cash flow tax measures that have been introduced. They are not really giving any immediate assistance, really. So I'm not going to go into it. Tax payments. Now, there are tax payments due on the 7th of April and then on the 7th of May. And then GST due on the 7th of May as well. And these are quite big payments, aren't they? I haven't read any new tax payment relief measures. I wouldn't be surprised if something turns up. Government are rolling things out progressively as they hear and find things that they need to do. So the standard rules apply. If you can't pay your tax, call IRD. They're all working from home. So yeah, I'm not sure how that'll work, how an entire call centre can work from home, but they are, their website says they're still working. So instalment arrangements, if you can't get through to them or they don't allow an instalment arrangement for some reason, the Tax Management New Zealand facility is still there and they are still working. So call Hamish or Hi, probably Hamish is the best one, and we can get a quote for you and talk you through how you can utilise the Tax Management New Zealand tax pooling payment system. Right, now we're pretty near the end. Budgets. Now, my advice to all our business clients is you do a budget. This may be a month, it may be 2 or 3, it may be longer, we don't know. When your income is impacted in this way, you need a budget. Rich people, rich businesses probably don't need budgets, to be honest. It's people on limited income and stressed businesses who do need budgets. For some of you, your income's down to 0. What everyone has to do is ensure that their cash outflows are not greater than their cash inflows. If your income is down to 0, then you've got a challenging budget to do. Whatever though, you've got at least $585 per employee coming in and maybe some other assistance through a government guaranteed bank loan, as I mentioned before. So, and you may negotiate something with your landlord to halve your rent or give you a rent holiday, things like that. But whatever, you need to know what your income is and your outflows must not be greater than that. All right, so you need a business budget. We are giving all our business clients budget help without any charge. Please use us. It's not often you're going to get something for your accountant for free. Well, this is one thing, so use us. We're here to help, okay? That's business budgets. For personal budgets. Now, even business owners, you're going to have to pull in your personal spending because your income's absolutely going to be down unless you're a pharmacist or a supermarket or something like that. Sorted.org, we gave you the URL in my last email. Have a look at that. That is a good tool. If you want help though with that, give us a call. Again, we'll do it for no charge if you're a client of ours. I recommend you give that to your staff. If you've reduced their pay in any way at all, recommend that sorted.org.nz personal budget tool to them, because they also need to keep their outgoings no greater than their ingoings, and if their income has gone down, they need a budget, in my view. Something that you might be able to suggest to your staff, if you're only paying them $585, for example, and that's way less than what they were getting, is that they might just have to move out of their rental property and go and live with family or live with mates and pool their living costs together. And if you think that might work for your staff, you can suggest it. Desperate times require desperate measures, and I'm sorry for all our residential rental landlord clients. That sounds like you might be impacted, but I don't think anyone, in all fairness, should expect to miss out on some pain at least from this. In principle, the greater the number of us that share some of this pain, the fewer of us there will be that suffer extreme pain. We don't want that. Gee, I've come to the end. That's it. Just a reiteration, we are here to help you. Call me or Hamish or Lauren. The numbers, you know them, but they were in our email earlier this week. Please use us. We are here to help, and we are not charging for this emergency help. We want you to get through. Okay, this will come to an end. Keep your chins up. Sky Movies is free, so if you're on Sky, watch a funny movie. Have a laugh, have a glass of wine. We will make it through this. We are here to help. Call us if you need us. Okay? We will talk to you when we see it. Oh yeah, keep an eye open, please, on your emails, because any time it seems appropriate, I'll send more help either by email or by video. Okay, all for now. Take care. Bye.